Welcome to another edition of Park Talk Podcast, the official podcast of the Naperville Park District. Welcome back to the State of the Park District podcast and the episode titled Partnerships Make Great Things Happen. I'm pleased to welcome Sales and Sponsorship Manager Stacy Fontesha.
Hi.
Director of Recreation and Facilities Andrea Coates. Wintrust Naperville Market President Grant Cowan.
Good morning.
And Naperville Little League Baseball Vice President Jim Muir.
Good morning.
Thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. Partnerships take many forms at the Park District, from volunteers to donors, sponsors and community partners, and all are important to the overall operations of the Park District as they help us serve the recreation needs of the community in the most comprehensive way. During this conversation, we're going to highlight some key partnership examples and explain the benefits of these relationships. So, Andrea, I'm going to start with you. While this episode highlights sponsorships and community partnerships, the district also benefits greatly from our volunteers and donations. Can you provide a brief overview of the magnitude of the district's volunteer program and how it's an important kind of partnership at the district?
Absolutely. First of all, our volunteer program is very strong. Currently, we work with over 2,500 volunteers. Volunteers range from parents who are coaching our youth athletics to teenagers who support our special events. We have several clubs and businesses that volunteer out in the parks with us, mulching and doing all sorts of park cleanup for us. The number of hours the volunteers put in with us is amazing. We're probably looking at over 69,000 hours in the course of a year. As you can imagine, this helps us keep the programs affordable. And honestly, some of these programs would not even exist without the volunteers. So it is a very important part of the Naperville Park District.
And that's really been a years-long effort to grow volunteers and something we've been at for quite a while.
Absolutely. And a lot of it spreads by word of mouth.
Sure.
So as businesses or clubs get involved, they reach out to us and say, hey, we want to be involved in too. So it's been very, very beneficial.
Well, the Park District's a great place to get started and volunteer and meet people in the process.
Absolutely.
Stacy, I would like to kind of start our conversation on the sponsorship angle of things. If you could provide an overview of the Park District sponsorship and advertising program and how its success has benefited our organization and the community.
Absolutely. So the sponsorship and advertising program has been around a little over 10 years, and we've been fortunate enough to continue to grow it year over year due to some amazing community partners within, the community, and just wanting them to give back to Naperville and to the Park District and to engage more or less with our patrons. We offer a lot of different opportunities for them to engage with our patrons, whether they're wanting to do something passive where it's like a program guide advertising or sports banners. But then we also have those active on-site opportunities for them to get involved with all of our events throughout the year. Tabling opportunities, different things like that. So we have a wide array of different ways for them to engage with the community and support the Naperville Park District at the same time. Organizations continue to partner with a well-respected one like the Naperville Park District, just because there's a lot of, cohesion and wanting to get involved with the community and support and give back, and we're able to provide those opportunities in a different kind of way to engage with the community. Alternative revenue is important to the district, as we basically only have two revenue engines, property tax and program fees. So money from the sponsorship and advertising program is great because it's able to help offset costs for different events and kind of add a little bit of a new level to them, and also programs that we do as well. Our partners love engaging with the community, and we always like to hear from our patrons when they're out, whether there's tabling opportunities or different things. They love seeing our partners as well out in the community.
Well, it adds just kind of a fun, dynamic aspect, especially when you're talking about an event like Concerts in Your Park or Santa's Workshop.
Yeah, definitely. It's nice to have those partners out and engage and do fun things and games. And it's been really great for us.
Excellent. So, Jim, I'm going to take it over to you. Naperville Little League Baseball is a great example of a community partnership and the ways that the Park District collaborates with other organizations to enhance its programs and facilities. Can you talk a little bit about the most recent example of how the Park District and Naperville Little League are working together and why the partnership is particularly noteworthy?
Sure. About 3 years ago, in a conversation, it was actually an informal conversation with Brad Wilson, I posed the question to him about had the Park District ever considered synthetic turfing any of the fields because our springs are usually very wet, and it's a lot of work for the Park District to get the fields ready, and it results in a lot of delayed games and issues for us in scheduling. So one thing led to another. He and I went back and forth, and we ended up embarking on a multi-year plan to turf 4 of the lighted fields here in Naperville. We would make a donation to that effort, and we mapped out a schedule of when we would roll these out. Actually, in 2024, we rolled the first field out at DuPage 5 down south. And I just drove by Knock 5 today on the way over here, and it's good to see that one. Looks like it's complete as well. So we're ready for spring now to go ahead and play with that. And so it's been a very welcome joint venture between us and the Park District to upgrade the fields for the children who play baseball in our organization in Naperville. And it's noteworthy because we have a very robust sponsorship support throughout the community, and it allows us the ability to utilize those funds to enhance the facilities in the city for kids who will play on these fields 10, 15, 20 years from now.
Right.
So it's a way of, in our view, of investing in the community. Is like you, we're a community-centric organization.
Absolutely. And that DuPage field is so beautiful. We opened it last May, and to quite a bit of fanfare, and it was a really neat event.
Yes, and it's been wildly popular.
That's great.
Throughout the community. Kids love playing on it, and we're just we're excited about the ability to expand that footprint down to the central part of the city at Knock 5 come April.
Right. And get to celebrate again.
We hope so.
That's fantastic. Andrea, in what ways are partnerships like the one that we have with Naperville Little League so important to the district and the community we serve? I know Jim talked a little bit about it, from our perspective.
Yeah, from our perspective, I think part of it is partnerships in general open up opportunities that you wouldn't not otherwise be able to provide. Partnerships allow us to combine resources and to tap into each other's expertise. And one of the ways is with Little League, like for example, we had the ability to provide the field space and stuff for Little League. They come in and they provide expertise in the field and in the sport. They're just knowledgeable, and it's just a great shared effort. It keeps programs affordable.
Right.
And ultimately, provides a quality program for the community. So partnerships are ultimately very, very important.
Definitely. All right, so let's talk a little bit about sponsorships again.
Okay.
Stacy, Naperville Bank and Trust has been a partner of the Park Districts for several years. And in late 2023 through 2024, our respective staff worked together with NB&T to create an expanded partnership. Would you provide some of the background and the history of our partnership with Naperville Bank and Trust and the opportunity that surfaced last year to have a broader conversation involving Wintrust?
Absolutely. So Naperville Bank and Trust and the Naperville Park District have been great partners for a number of years. It started out with a relationship where they would do some on-site events with us, like Halloween Happening, turned into some sports banners, kind of then the golf scorecard advertising, and then they showed an interest in the fee assistance program. After talking with Grant and his team over at Naperville Bank and Trust, we realized we had a lot in line, same mission, same values, trying to give back to the community, kind of what we do here at the Naperville Park District aligns with a lot of what they do. So we started having those conversations and trying to figure out what made sense in the community. That's how we kind of ended up with Wintrust Athletic Field. And it's been huge for the community. It's over at Knock Park. We did a big ribbon cutting, and everyone came out, and it was awesome. And it brought the community together, which ultimately is a huge thing for us. Our goal ultimately with all of our partners is to find out what their goal is and then to find out what makes the most sense, partnership wise. But the partnership with Naperville Bank and Trust has been great. They're now our official banking provider, and they're getting, other visibility around the community as well from us. But I think the fee assistance program and giving back to the community with the sign and the field naming has just been a really great opportunity.
And that sign is amazing. Oh my goodness, you can't miss it, and
Especially
it's
at
wonderful.
night.
It's
I
so
think
cool.
the nighttime.
Exactly when it's all lit up.
We were all excited at the bank the first time it was lit up. I think one of us drove by and let everybody else know. And I get so many comments from people
I love that.
about that sign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so cool. So, Grant, what was the impetus for greater involvement with Naperville Bank and Trust and Wind Trust with the Naperville Park District? And how did the expanded partnership manifest last year?
Well, I think Stacy kind of outlined how the Park District started banking with us some time ago, and we had a banking relationship with them. But for years, all of the things that Stacy listed as far as sponsoring things, the Halloween events, Christmas events, we volunteer. I mean, I've twice in 2024 went and dug and planted trees with a team of people from the bank. I look forward to it. I think it's an absolute blast. But a big part of what we did and what the really big important focus, Wind Trust, Naperville Bank and Trust, really committed to supporting the community and fee assistance. We've been involved with providing fee assistance for some time that is going to people that might not be able to participate in programs.
Right.
And the Park District, Jim with the Little League, but there's people of all ages and at various stages in people's lives, they might not be able to afford something that, whether it's an activity or an event, we feel great about being able to help people participate in those things.
And that's excellent, too, because we know the benefits that participating in recreation programs provides everybody. So it's important to be able to
Huge.
expand that to everyone in the community. And we really appreciate your partnership in that regard. In what ways does our partnership, Wind Trust partnership with the Naperville Park District, really benefit your organization? I know that the giving back and the feel good and all of that, but what are some of the other kind of tangibles or intangibles?
You know, I thought about this recently, and I don't know that there really is a tangible. The tangible thing is that sign
Correct. Yep.
on West Street that lights up, and during the day it's there, and you drive by there and there's a lacrosse game. I go by it every day. There's a lacrosse game. There's a softball team out there, football. I mean, it can be anything. So for me personally, it's really neat to drive by and see this. I think what the sign really does is solidify or really show our commitment to supporting the community.
Right.
You know, it's not measured in, oh, did we open new bank accounts or anything like that. Culture and community involvement is a really big piece of what Wind Trust is all about. And we back that up with how we do things.
Well, and I think that's, you really just put into words why this partnership works so well, because we're about culture and community as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We talk about it virtually every day at the bank, and just went through a new program for culture that's even more expanded than what we were doing. So, yeah, it's a really good fit because I think the cultures are very, very close.
Right. Very, very well aligned for sure. Andrea, the last type of partnership I wanted to touch on are donations. How has the district and the community benefited in recent years from the generosity of residents?
Well, first of all, I'd have to say this community is very, very lucky to have so many generous donors in this community. Over the last couple of years, the district has received some significant donations in the way of lands or projects. A couple of examples that come to my mind are out at Knock Knolls. We have received land from the Frank J. Russ Trust, along with a donation to build a brand new pavilion out there. The pavilion is beautiful.
It is beautiful.
We anticipate that come this spring and summer, it's going to get used heavily. It's very serene and quiet, so it fits with the
place.
mission of the district.
Yes.
The other thing that we have is the generous donation from the Rothermill Family Fund of DuPage Foundation that supported the building of the pickleball courts down at Frontier Park, and also the new skate facility that is down at Centennial Park. These are huge facilities for the community. I don't think they realize about the donations. They just see them and they play on them and they're active and they're used very heavily. So these donations are so important, and this community is just so lucky to have them.
Well, and you think about donations and kind of like, well, how is that a partnership? But it really is. It's a partnership of those particular individuals and DuPage Foundation to connect with the Park District to be able to make those additions and enhancements to the community.
Absolutely, and things that people don't realize but would never happen without the donations.
Right.
Because as we're tax-based, the taxes can only take you so far. You
Correct.
need these to be able to expand opportunities and different activities. So it's been a great addition, especially, I have to say, the pickleball courts.
For sure.
With the demand in the community. So
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, it takes many kinds of partnerships to fulfill the recreation needs of the community, and the district is so grateful for the many connections and collaborations that help build an overall supportive community. We look forward to continuing to build and foster the relationships we highlighted today. And I want to thank you all for joining me for this conversation.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank
Same
you.
here.
Thank you for listening. The Naperville Park District's mission is to provide park and recreation experiences that promote healthy lives, healthy minds, and a healthy community. Park Talk Podcast is a production of the Naperville Park District.